In this video, I'm going to be talking about my new character, Prince Pyre, a character I'm adding about 95% of the way through writing this story, and I'm going to talk about my reason why I'm adding them, my process creating them so far into writing this story, as well as the journey that I created for them to go down in order to make it so that their inclusion in the story makes sense from a narrative perspective. Why I created Prince Pyre. I was writing a scene where Felikir, Garmok, Plank, and Zola are escaping Domos because of some insane felonies that they just committed. And I needed Zola to be separated from the party and for them to leave Domos and leave her behind in Domos. I didn't want her to just be trapped or have it be like the inability to escape. I wanted it to be a choice. So I created Prince Pyre. I wanted her to see Prince Pyre and then not go of her own willingness. Originally, I had written that Prince Pyre was holding somebody that she loves hostage and that she stays behind because she doesn't want that friend to die. That has been changed. She sees Prince Pyre, she goes with him. Now that we know what she ends up doing, I needed to go through and create this character more and have them basically have a life within Domos. Domos is the city where everything related to the humans is taking place. It's one of the most important cities. There's 3 cities, and 2 of them have humans, which are Domos and Labion. Those are the 2 cities we'll be talking about today. Now that we know why I created Prince Pyre, now we have to talk about how I actually created them. So I was on a walk with a friend, and I needed to give Pyre a characteristic, a quality that separated him and gave him some flaws and something unique. Basically making him be scared of slimy substances. Not like terrified, not like slimy substance phobia, but just like really does not like those textures, a texture issue. And I thought that was perfect because at the time all I had was Royal and Zola goes after him, and this gave him character. This gave him privilege. So now that we know that he doesn't like slimy substances, I wanted to build off more of that. Who are his parents? He's a royal, so obviously his parents are royal, but who? Well, since I already have one royal pretty built up, I figured why not make him the son of that character being Kelvin. So I made Prince Pyre the son of Kelvin. Now where's the mother? Is the mother in the picture? I thought no. Reason why is because I wanted Prince Pyre to hate the royals. If he had a loving and caring mother, that would probably decrease the chances of him hating the royals. So I made mother die somewhere in the past. Doesn't really matter when, but mother's been out of the picture for a long time for Prince Pyre, and he's basically been raised up by his absent father, so not actually raised up by his father at all. So, because of mother being dead and father being a total asshole and horrible person, this gives Pyre a lot of reasons to hate the royals. Pyre spends a lot of his days outside of the royal sector, Sector A, spending most of his time in Sector B and C, and I didn't really know what else to do with that quite yet, and I knew that his character was very crucial to Zola's, so I started working on his relationship with Zola. Are they close? Are they enemies? Considering at the beginning I was saying that he was holding one of her friends hostage, I decided at the beginning to make them enemies, but that ended up slowly developing into them actually being romantic lovers at the beginning. Looking back at the progression of the plot, there's an event where Zola is forced to leave Domos, and I thought this would be a great opportunity for their relationship to be tested. Basically, this is the point of no return for the plot and where shit really starts picking up. It's like chapter 5 or something. So she leaves. She ends up coming back because she has a life in Domos and she has to, tie up loose ends and make things somewhat okay to just up and leave because they are just up and leaving the city where they've built their whole life around, like very spontaneously. So she returns and she visits Pyre, her partner. During her visit, they mourn some of the events that happened in the previous chapters, which ends up leading to her asking Pyre to come with her, to come to Labion and drop everything that he has built in Domos. While it does sound like a good idea because he does hate the royals, he is still a royal, and he is still tied very heavily to Domos. So it's not exactly feasible for him to just drop everything and go. I mean, technically, I guess he could, but he would probably be hunted down and brought back. So that doesn't really go well. And Zola knew that it wasn't really going to go well when she asked, but she asked anyways because she loves him. So this is the first point of break in the relationship. They don't necessarily break up or anything like that, but this is definitely, I guess, kind of like a breakup, but at the end of that meeting, they basically assume that they're never going to see each other again, because Zola has to go to Labion and leave her life behind. So I'm thinking this, because of this tragic moment, because of their separation, this could be a great catalyst for change within Pyre. I have been pondering and mulling over the idea of having Zola get pregnant with Pyre's child, and I'm not too sure if I'm going to go that route, but we'll see. Going back just a little bit, I want to talk about my progression with creating this character. One of the things that I did was focus on Pyre's journey. How exactly does he fit inside of the narrative? What chapters is he going to be playing a role in? So I basically wrote down where he starts, what he ends up doing, points of decision, points of change. How can I effectively build him up without necessarily destroying the pacing of the main story? Because he isn't necessarily a main character. He's definitely not a main character, but he will end up playing a much more significant role than he does at the beginning of the story. He's kind of like a late game player. So I wanted to build him up a little bit. And one of the things that I was considering as I was building him up was, is it best to actually go back and add him into these prior chapters, or would it be better to just flashback? So I'm leaning towards just implementing his progression in the prior chapters because, I mean, that's what I've been doing so far. One of the reasons is because I feel like it builds up that climax a little bit better, knowing that these cards are being laid out, and you get to see like the playing field a little bit better with his inclusion in the narrative. I wrote out his journey, and then I basically threw in chapter markers of when each of those moments would happen within his journey. The first one being chapter 3 when he's introduced. There's another one around chapter 14 where he has an interaction with Zola. We get to expand on their relationship a little bit more, as well as like a chapter much later down the line when he ends up being the reason why Zola gets left behind in Domos. Expanding on that, there's going to be an additional chapter that is added in rather than like adding him to an existing chapter. I will be creating an entirely new chapter because I would like to expand on him and Zola's interactions after Felikir, Plank, and Garmok leave Domos, leaving her behind. Related to that, that's another example of one of the things that I was considering being a flashback, because there is this big reveal of
Zola basically being at this climax, which I was not originally planning, but because of Pyre's introduction and inclusion in the story, and it ended up leading her down the path of being at this climax.
So if you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe. I'm going to be posting more videos basically talking about my progress creating this sci-fi epic, Siphon Rebirth. If you have any questions about anything that I've said in this video, if you want me to elaborate on anything, please drop them in the comments below. I would love to respond either in a message or with a video. All right, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.